Yo, where did this year go? We are staring down the barrel of the last 90 days of 2022, and I just can't believe we're here already. So, in my last video, I went through my plan for the last 90 days of 2022 and how to plan it with intention based on what it is I want to accomplish in the rest of this year, kind of sharing some of my tips and the way I think about it. So, if you haven't seen that video, I would highly recommend taking a look at that when you're done with this one. But today, what I want to do is take the goal that I've set for myself for the last 90 days and break that down into actionable steps based on this coming month. So, if you're somebody who struggles to get that planning and organization piece down on paper, this process is going to be really helpful for you. And by process, I mean the actual act of sitting down, forecasting what it is you want to do, and then doing it and checking back and reviewing your progress. That's the process. The system can be whatever you want it to be. I use a couple of different systems. So right now I'm using the Rocketbook Panda Planner as the thing that sits on my desk that I can take quick looks at, but I also plan everything in Notion. I just like to have a digital and written format, and this system really works for me. So you pick a system that works for you, and let's dive into October planning so that we're starting off on the right foot. So this is my system that I use in Notion. And as you can see, I do this process every week and every month and every quarter. So right now, this is the week that we're in, but we're going to start with our September wrap up. So usually what I do at the end of the month is run through this and finish everything up. So I have a good sense of where I am in September. So I'll show you that very briefly. I always start off with my one thing at the beginning of the month. And for this month, it was to deliver a kick ass beta program for distraction action. And it is going so well. We're about halfway through now. And the program itself will be available October 15th for anybody who feels like they don't have the clarity they need to move forward on their goals. But for right now, I'm doing a live session with this small beta group and it's going wonderfully. These are the words I chose for myself as we were coming into September. And what I'll do now is just reflect on like a success, a challenge, and a lesson that I learned in this month, add in all of my stats based on my social channels and my email list. And I'll also assess the month in terms of energy. I actually just got diagnosed with Hashimoto's this month. So my energy has not been awesome. One thing I love doing every month is determining what I love doing and what I didn't love doing, because I am always trying to move towards eliminating the things in my life that I don't enjoy doing and doing more of the things that I love. Like I love doing these videos. I love planning. I love cleaning. What I don't love doing is taking the dogs to the vet. My husband's much better at doing that. And then, of course, I always pick something to manifest every month and every week. This month, I wanted to really manifest an amazing experience with my beta group. And I would definitely say that that has come to fruition. So then I'll do some business reflections and just ask myself some questions that will help me get a sense of where I'm going, what's working, what's not. On the very last day of the month, I will also wrap up my revenue by looking at all of my various different sources of income and totaling them up so I know exactly how much I made in the month. And when I have any intuitive hits, I always add those in just so I can track them. I love tracking my wins. I would definitely say that my wins this month was selling out the program and the execution of the program, which has gone extremely well so far, and then some personal reflections and personal spending. But what I really want to spend some time on right now, because this will help me decide what I want to do in October, is reflect on my September goals. So I have a book on intuition that I'm reading right now. I haven't finished that, but I'm getting close. So I'm sure I'll have that done by the end of the month. I set a goal to record at least 3 modules of my program. Check, I've actually done more than that. I also want to complete all the content for this program. I'm developing the content as we go. So that is laser targeted on my audience of driven women who want to get things done, but they just have way too much going on in their heads. So that has been super successful. And I do believe that I'll have that content wrapped up by the end of this month. I made a commitment to go on one artist date, which was not Target, because that seems to be where I always take myself. So the thing that I did this month for my artist date was hiring an intuitive. This woman was amazing. I've been listening to her podcast for a long time, and I thought I would really like to do this just to see what she says. I don't know how I feel about psychics and intuitives, but I'm curious. So I booked an appointment with her, and we had a really great chat, and she was extremely specific about things that I was very shocked about. So that was my artist date for this month, and I actually have a plan to interview that intuitive on my podcast. I had a goal of trying 2 new restaurants, which I did. I wanted to organize the laundry room. Check. I got that done this weekend and it felt amazing. I also found my landscapers for this month, so I'm glad I got that off my plate. A couple of more things that I've yet to accomplish. One was starting to work at coffee shops, but I haven't had a chance to do that yet because it's still like in the 90s here in Texas and I don't want to sit inside. So sitting outside was not an option this month. I will move that to October. And my last goal was to reach 2,500 subs on YouTube. I think I'm at around 21, 22 right now. So I'm a little shy of that goal, but still really happy with the growth that I've had on this channel since I started. So when I look at these goals, now I know what I want to focus on in October. My 90-day plan is to continue to work towards my revenue goal for the year. I don't know that I'll hit it. It's a little pie in the sky, but I'm going to do everything I can to roll that out. So on that, I will be launching Distraction to Action as an on-demand program on October 15th, and I will be promoting that throughout the year. And then in December, I will relaunch that program as a live coaching session. So you'll have the on demand modules and you'll also be a part of a group. And the way I'm thinking about doing this is that anybody who buys the on demand program can then upgrade to be a part of the live group coaching session in January if they want, or they can choose just to stick with the on-demand program. So I'm really hoping that that strategy will enable me to meet my revenue goals in a way that's in alignment with my energy, because I just don't want to overcommit myself for the rest of this year. So on that note, it's time to open a new document for October of 2022 and get that started. Now, I won't bore you with every detail here, but what I do want to share with you is how to take a goal and create a project around it and then create tasks underneath that project in order to see it through to fruition. So my next big project, in addition to delivering the program live right now, is to complete the on-demand program and set up a launch schedule for October 15th so that people can then purchase that program for the rest of the year. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new project, and that's going to be Distraction to Action on Demand. The status of that project is now active, and it is my second priority for October. My first priority is to deliver excellence to my live group that I'm coaching right now. I have all of these projects developed under a pillar of some kind. This falls under my business pillar, but it also falls under professional development. I like to list out the type of project that it is and then assign a due date and then go through a process of actually building out tasks for this. But I always like to start with why. What is this aligning to, and why is this important to me? And the reason this is important to me is because it's serving my audience. It's something I feel very aligned to and very strongly about. And it's also another asset that I'm building in my asynchronous business, where I have offerings that people can do at any time, as opposed to me having to show up and be somewhere every day, which is something I don't like to do. So that is my why for this project, and it is very motivating. I will not have a problem starting this task. And then I also like to cover, what does done look like? And I think this is a really important one for ADHDers, because very often we set goals for ourselves and we may even achieve them, but because we're not necessarily paying attention to what the milestones are, we just blast through or we take a different direction. Things don't turn out exactly as we anticipated because we haven't actually taken the time to anticipate what that's supposed to look like. So we could stop and appreciate what we just completed and then move forward with our next goal. So I always like to look at, what does done look like? And for me, that is a well-marketed program that is live and ready for purchase. And the value statement is very clear. And I have people going through it and really loving it. That's what done looks like. And with this particular project that I have, I always consider any sort of budget things, like, am I going to do Facebook ads? Am I going to do any other type of paid promotion? And then I break down the tasks. So what needs to be done in order for this to be live by the 15th? I've got to complete all the content. I have to have somebody go through it and edit it. I need to have some graphics done for it. And then I need to plan out my promotion schedule and really start talking about this. So, all of those tasks will get detailed in this project file where I will list out the exact thing that I need to do, when it needs to be done by, and approximately how long I think it will take to do so that I'm very clear on all of the things that are dedicated to this one specific project. And then I will go over to my Google Calendar and I will actually block time out to get this done in such a way that it'll be ready for launch on October 15th. So you're holding me accountable on this one. So that is just one of the projects that I'm going to be doing in October. And to be quite honest, is probably the only thing that I'm really going to focus on outside of getting myself into those coffee shops, going on an artist date, trying new restaurants in the area, and planning our vacations for next year. But I would be remiss if I didn't say that in all transparency, even though I go to great lengths to plan my months, they rarely end up looking exactly the way I plan them. Sometimes I forget to do things, sometimes life happens, and sometimes I'm fighting my ADHD brain that just doesn't feel like doing certain things. And I say that because based on what you saw there, it can look like I have my snizzle together, but I don't always have my snizzle together. I just try the very best that I can to plan in advance because that gives me a sense of peace and really helps me to manage my anxiety. When I go through my days without a plan, I end up in like willy-nilly land where I'm extremely busy doing a whole bunch of nothing. And that's really not a great place for me to be in because I start feeling really bad about myself. So this system is what I have affectionately coined my peaceful productivity system, where I set up a plan, I have it in a bunch of different places so that I can't forget the things that I've planned, and I do my very best to follow through, but I'm also cognizant of the fact that I tend to overschedule and I give myself enough time. So when things don't get done when I want them to, there's a buffer there. So I hope that whole process was helpful. I hope there's something you can take away from it. And if you have any questions or struggles around planning, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what your process is, or if you even have a process. And if you don't, does this inspire you to start? On that note, guys, I'll see you in the next video.